dread it, run from it. Destiny arrives all the same. And here it is. Or should I say, here we are. PSG, top Group B of the FIFA Club World Cup. And people said, but you guys lost to Botafogo, but 1-0. Botafogo this, Botafogo that. It don't matter. It do not matter. We still won. Whether we beat Botafogo, lost to Botafogo, drawn to Botafogo, PSG still topped the group. We did our bit. We won our game. And Atletico Madrid did us a cheeky little favor. But all alas, just like destiny, PSG topped the group. Voila, Atletico, unfortunately, there were some casualties. Atletico are out of here. But PSG, we did what we needed to do. We topped the group. And the first thing I'm going to go and say, Pete, we're going to go ask, how did PSG top the group? I thought, the first head-to-head, the first tiebreaker was head-to-head, so on and so forth. Let me explain it to hopefully, allow it for people to be clear on this. So for this FIFA Club World Cup, if things are tied and teams are level on points, or several teams are level on points, the order of tiebreakers is head-to-head in terms of the game, the actual game, whoever won the game, the head-to-head matchup. Then it's head-to-head goal difference. Then it's head-to-head goals scored. And then there's a bunch of other things, goals scored, I think yellow card, etc., so on and so forth. So in this case, because both, if you go and look, PSG, Botafogo, and Atletico Madrid all finished on 6 points apiece. So in this case, the reason, for example, that Botafogo aren't ahead of PSG is because even though Botafogo beat PSG, Botafogo also lost to Atletico Madrid, and PSG beat Atletico Madrid. So all three teams either won against the... Oh my goodness, let me say that again. Each team won a game against one of those two other teams and lost a game against one of those two other teams, which means that they're all level in that span. So then the next tiebreaker goes to the goal difference. And so by this, you can clearly see that PSG scored 6 goals, conceded 1 with a goal difference of +5, whereas Botafogo scored 3 goals, conceded 2. Therefore had a goal difference of +1, and Atletico Madrid scored 4 goals, conceded 5. They therefore have a goal difference of -1. And so if I'm not mistaken, the reason, for example, Botafogo are still, again, to clarify things, are behind PSG, even though they beat them in the head-to-head, because they lost to Atletico Madrid, they're therefore level on points with everybody else. So technically, had you only been looking at Botafogo and Atletico Madrid, then Atletico Madrid would be ahead of them. If PSG and Botafogo were level on points, then it would have been Botafogo that went ahead. But because every single team was level on points, then the next tiebreaker goes down to goal difference. So hopefully I've cleared that up. For a bit of context, if I'm not mistaken, had Atletico Madrid gone and scored another goal and won 2-0 in that game, they would have then both had the same goal difference, because Atletico Madrid would have scored an extra goal, therefore their goal difference would be 0. Botafogo would have conceded another goal, which means their goal difference would be 0 as well. Then it would go down to the next tiebreaker, which would then be the amount of goals scored. And in that case, Atletico Madrid would have scored 5 goals to Botafogo's 3, which would mean that Atletico Madrid, if I'm not mistaken, would have gone through. I know it's a bit complicated, but those are how the rules are. But yeah, as I said though, in terms of the game itself, honestly, like many of the other games, the same thing in that game against Atletico Madrid, PSG didn't really get out of second gear. A cheeky little 2-0 win, goal by 𝙀𝙀𝘿𝘾𝘼𝙎𝑖 in the 35th minute, and a goal by Achraf Hakimi in the 67th minute. And once again, I just go and say that PSG, I don't think it really seriously got out of second gear. I think we're playing at max 70-75% of our capacities. I think, again, you're still going and you're looking at the fact that it's been a long season. You had Nations League games, so on and so forth. Not to use that as an excuse, but I think these are things that are coming into play. And I think the fact is, from PSG's perspective, it's just to get out of the group. How you go and do so doesn't matter. You get it, you top of the group, an even better bonus, and you move forward. Obviously, if you would have wanted to have won your game against Botafogo, but at the end of the day, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Similar thing in the Champions League. Obviously, PSG would have wanted to finish in the top 8. But at the end of the day, number one priority is to get out of the Champions League group phases, move on, and then you go from there. And that's what PSG did. And in terms of the game itself, Again, not the best room for PSG. The lineup was basically PSG's strongest available lineup, with the exception of 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙖, who was sort of playing as a false nine. Apart from that, you had 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙖, 𝙬𝙬𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙖. Obviously, 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝘾 can be interchanged with Bradley Barcola. Neves, Vitinha, Ruiz, our best midfield. Hakimi, Marquinhos, Pacho, and Mendes, our backline. And obviously, Gio Donnarumma in goal. And obviously, the game, we didn't really suffer much. I think Seattle, in fairness, I got to go and say, started off the game well enough. In the first couple of minutes, had a flurry of chances, or put us on the back foot a bit. Were really pressing us, but then after a while, I think the quality of PSG really shone through and began to show itself. So a comfortable performance from PSG. Never really were put under much struggle. Even if you go and you look at statistically, they didn't create nearly as many chances. I mean, you go and you see 72% possession, as you'd expect, dominated the possession, 2.12 XG, 15 shots, 7 shots on target, 3 big chances, with a huge clearance by the Seattle on the goal line. So it could have been 3 from PSG. But overall, a controlled performance. You didn't really need to go and get out of second gear. And again, once again, I remind people that PSG is doing all of this without 𝙀𝙀𝘆𝑚𝑏 Dembélé. And again, people go and say, oh, look at PSG, still so good without 𝙀𝙀𝘆𝑚𝑏 Dembélé. If 𝙀𝙀𝘆𝑚𝑏 Dembélé was here, PSG would be even better. So again, you're doing all of this without the best player on your team, keeping him nice and fresh for the round of 16. And I would expect that he will make an appearance in that round of 16. I personally would have thought that maybe he makes, last couple 10 minutes, 5 minutes in this game. But hey, the PSG medical staff know better than I do. So 𝙀𝙀𝘆𝑚𝑏 Dembélé does not make an appearance. But to quickly go on to the individual performances from PSG in this game, I thought 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝘾 was actually excellent today. If you go and look here, 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝘾 completed the most dribbles. He had the most tackles, and he won the most duels as well. An absolute tremendous performance. So all those people going and saying, always getting on 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝘾, the 𝙬𝙬𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙬𝘾 out there realistically speaking, trying to go and force this comparison. Nobody's going and saying 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝘾's better than Yamal. But I mean, whenever he has a bad performance, you guys are all on his case. So I hope you guys are also watching his good performances. Great performance here today. Plays a key through ball for the second goal that we scored, and was integral. Was moving. Had a couple shots that were blocked. Had the one chance in that first half where he slalomed his way through the Seattle defense. Plays a give and go with, I think it was 𝙀𝙊𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙖. Unfortunately, the shot was a bit, wasn't the strongest thing. But again, 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 type things. I think in this game especially, he was a lot less focused on, doing the razzle dazzle, the flair, the skills, so on and so forth. And was playing a lot more simple. At times, again, would still take, an extra touch, so on and so forth. But that's his game. That's what 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 is going to go and do. I'm okay with it. But then the man of the match, though, in this game. And again, when I go and say top 3 for Ballon d'Or, people look at me and call me crazy. Achraf Hakimi, once again, with another goal. 8.7 performance once again here today. And I go and ask people, what more does he need to do? Now we're going full screen for this one. What more does he need to do to go and seriously put a contention for finishing minimum top 5 Ballon d'Or, if not top 3? Because Hakimi has been our most consistent player. He's consistently been there in the big moments. Here again today, in the quarterfinals in the Champions League, in the semifinals in the Champions League, in the final in the Champions League. Les gars, il doit faire quoi de plus? Les gars, I'll go and say it. Call me crazy. Achraf Hakimi, top 4 right backs in the history of football. And he's not fourth. What are the only people ahead of him are Cafu and Dani Alves. And remind you guys look at this clearly. Age, he's only 26. Technically not even in his prime. Voila. I'll leave you guys with that. But again, Achraf Hakimi was absolutely brilliant today. Another cheeky cameo. 𝙀𝙀𝘆𝑚𝑏 obviously getting the goal. Technically, it was a bit of a weird goal because it was a shot from Vitinha. Took a deflection, didn't see who it was initially, but the goal was awarded to 𝙀𝙀𝘆𝑚𝑏, hit his back, went in. I thought hopefully he wasn't offside, but he was onside. It's a good goal. We moved on. And another I want to highlight a performance was Bradley Barcola. I thought he was excellent. He came on. The first couple actions he got with the ball at his feet, went out and took on his defender, burnt him for pace. An excellent through ball by 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 for the second goal. Barcola goes, finds Hakimi, bang, 2-0, comes on. And listen, I know, because of, 𝙀𝙀𝙬 and the Kvara's and all this stuff, I feel like Bradley Barcola sort of hasn't really gotten the praise and admiration that he deserves. But hey, moi je suis là pour toi, Bradley. I am there for you. Bradley Barcola. Bradley Coca-Cola. Oui, Bradley, je continue la propagande. And Bayern Munich, no, we're going full screen. Bayern Munich, get your hands off of him. You cannot have him. You can admire from afar, but you cannot touch him. But yeah, that's been it basically, guys. Nice cheeky little win. We move on. And it's going to be interesting to see now who PSG play. I'm recording this before the final games for Group A. So either PSG are going to go and either face Inter Miami, Palmeiras, Porto, or Athlete, depending on the results. So either way, comfortable performance, nice night. Again, PSG didn't really need to force their way through, but we did what we needed to do and we move on. Job's not finished. We stay focused, one game at a time. Mais faut rester concentré. We need to stay concentrated. Anyways, guys, it's been a pleasure as always. And remember, stay safe, stay kind, and stay blessed. Godspeed.